Podcast, a platform created to entertain, educate, and evolve the modern-day deer hunter.
I made notes when I left them at home.
Oh, geez, that's
wow, great way to be.
I know. We couldn't turn around.
Along with her ID.
Do you remember? Say how you get into the bar later?
Do you remember what any of them were?
Yeah, like, I wanted to talk about, like, are we still talking in these right now?
What do you mean?
Okay, it's just so weird. I wanted to talk about, like respecting, like, because a lot of times men, like, if a male finds out you're a hunter, like, I was told by someone before, oh, you're just a fucking poser.
Really?
Yeah, a guy, Alex. I told Alex about it. But, like, stuff like that. And I think part of that
That's a little aggressive.
Yeah, but he's kind of an asshole.
I wouldn't have guessed.
But, like, and I think a lot of that stems from how women portray themselves, like, in camo sometimes. You know?
Like in the camo that they hunt with, or like the camo lingerie that you can get at Cabela's?
Well, that kind of stuff. And, like there was a girl that posted a picture last hunting season, and she had, like, her makeup to the 9 and all that, you know, all that stuff. And she was, like, in the tree, and I don't know, just stuff like that. So I feel like people expect if you're, like, a good woman hunter, you're supposed to look like a dude. But then if you don't look like that, then
you don't get any attention.
Yeah.
And when people are trying to do it for marketing premises, there's a whole algorithm. It's pretty simple to figure out, right? They take a chick and they dress her up or down depending on how you
but I wanted to, like, talk about that, and then if you wanted to, like, ask us any, like, hunting stories, because I have a couple funny ones.
Okay. For
with
sure.
Him. I have one that I would talk about. And, I don't know, if you wanted to talk about, like, what we use, or I'm planning on next year using the tree saddle, because I want to hunt more on state land.
Nice.
With him. I've used the climber, and it's pretty scary.
Let's specify.
You didn't like it last time we talked.
No, I didn't.
Specify who him is, and...
Oh, yeah, Alex.
Alex Slosser.
Alex Slosser to my right, a rare Saturday morning. Podcast. We're usually stuck doing these after work, late at night. It's nice to be able to sit here in the morning and do it. I just finished up coffee, and now we're having Bloody Marys. So, and Brianna Slosser, Alex's lovely wife.
Yep.
And
Autumn Stowacki, which would be Brianna's cousin.
Nice.
Unfortunately,
yes.
You ladies love to hunt.
Yes,
and
we
it's
do.
actually really funny, and I haven't even told you this yet, because this is the first time that you and I have ever sat down and talked. But I saw you on Michigan Out of Doors.
Yep.
When that aired, what was it, 2 falls ago?
Yep, 2015.
So 2 years ago on the
2016,
local sportsman's program, or the Michigan Sportsman's Program. You were at buck pull. And did you win an award or something, or did they just pull you on camera?
No, biggest buck for women.
Yeah, a giant deer.
Yes, actually 2 feet off of Brianna. When I pulled up in my truck, they were like, wow, look at this moose, is what all the guys were saying. My windows are down, and they're like, look at this moose in the back of this truck. And next thing you know, I'm getting out of the driver's seat, and they're like, holy crap, that's a chick. A chick shot that. Like, they couldn't believe it. So
you must not have had your pink decals all over it yet.
Clearly not. And then even when we hung it up there and people were coming up to me and asking, did you shoot this or did your dad shoot this? No, I shot this. This is mine. And then I went last year actually too, and there was quite a few guys there that were like, hey, weren't you here last year with that buck? And I was like, yep. So.
Did you shoot that deer with a gun? It was opening day of firearm.
Second day.
Second day of firearm.
Yep. I actually was getting very frustrated, as I said on the show, Michigan Outdoors. I was getting very frustrated because my dad is texting me on the other side of the property saying, hey, I got this. I'm passing up this 8. He's coming your way. Never mind. He's going to the Pines. I'm passing up the 7. I'm passing up 6. I'm like, I literally don't even have anything coming to me, and not even a doe. What's going on? He's like, the wind's good. The wind's good. I don't know what's going on. And right before dark, I mean, he actually came downwind of me and was chasing a doe. And I could just see white through.
So you're in a tree stand?
Yep.
And would you have a shotgun?
Yeah, I did. Yep. So I was
Scope, with a scope?
Nope, no scope.
Open sights?
I will tell you this, and you guys will all laugh. I got ready to pull it up, and my sight fell off my gun.
What?
I shot without a sight.
Really?
I was like, all right.
With a slug?
Yep. I was like, okay, I know where this is where the bead normally is. Okay, I'm just going to aim where I know I should be aiming. Shot, and he kicked both legs out and then started running at me. And, of course, I knew I hit him, but I was like, all right. I need to shoot again. So I just started unloading on him. Next thing I know, he dropped literally right below my tree stand.
So what fell off, like the back sight or the front sight?
The front sight.
Really?
Yep.
Did it get hit on the way out or something?
That's the only thing I can think of because I was hunting the night before and the morning, and it was on there.
So your dad tried everything in his power. He put you in the worst stand, loosened your sight on your gun, and you still got it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's funny.
Yep.
Did you ever score that
Yeah,
deer?
I did. It scored a 141 and 3/4.
Really? Oh, God. That's a big deer.
Yeah.
That deer behind you was only like 118 inches. So, like, for me, for reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never shot a...
It was 21.5-inch spread, too.
Wow.
But he said, CBM, when I had it measured, he said if you would have shot this with a bow,
you
would have been, like, a celebrity all over. Like, it's amazing. He's like, even to shoot this with a gun, but if you would have shot this with a bow.
Did you guys have any idea that deer...
Nope. We've had him on, we have our trail cams out. We set him out usually in August. And we never once seen him. I was actually getting frustrated because all we were seeing on trail cams were small 6 and a small 8. And he came out of, like I said, of north. He was on a doe. She was in heat, so. But I think he was a swamp buck, which is usually what my dad usually takes a nice 8 and I take a nice 8, but they're coming out of the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in our woods whatsoever. They're just chasing does.
Gotcha. So you made a wrong move.
Mm-hmm.
You capitalized on it. No sights. Damn, that's impressive.
I know. So I'm like, Dad, I shot that without a sight. He's like, what do you mean? He like holds my gun. I'm
How
like,
far
holy
do
shit.
you think?
I would say probably about 45 yards.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet. So you're like, I'm just going to send it.
Yep. I didn't even have my grunt on me either to get him to stop because he was walking right at her, and I just let out a roar. He stopped, looked at me, and I was like, all right, I don't have a chance now. I'm just going to shoot without.
Were you ever shot a deer anything close to that, like that size? Or
No.
did you realize when he came out, like, oh, shit, this is...
It didn't. And that's what I've always said. I don't have buck fever when I'm watching them or even seeing them or even when I'm getting ready to shoot. It's afterwards. I can't stop shaking. I started crying instantly. I dropped my phone out of the tree stand. My dad's calling me, and he's yelling. And finally he got to me. He's like, you got it? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I thought that was a neighbor. I'm like, nope.
Huh. That's usually when it hits me, too, is after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like when they show up, like, right under you. And there's not enough time.
Yeah,
like,
to even think about it.
Or, it's a lot better for me than when I'm up and there's, 75 yards. I catch a glimpse of a horn and then a little bit more and this and that. And it all starts kind of compiling. And I'm like, all right, keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've gotten pretty good at controlling it over the last couple of years. I mean, as you can imagine, doing this, like, I live for that.
Mm-hmm.
So when that starts happening now, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I'm doing this whole thing for. I love that adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gone skydiving or nothing, but I rode wheelies on crotch rockets at over 100 miles an hour. And, there's a bit of adrenaline involved with that. And I used to work at a speedboat factory. We do testing on boats and be out running boats over 100 miles an hour. But nothing even comes close for me of shooting a deer. And it's not a big deal for, like, it's probably just because I limited time to do it, but it doesn't really matter if I have a gun or a bow or what. I still get that pump out of by any means. So that's, I guess, one of the big reasons why I hunt with all weapons. I don't really discriminate against the seasons or whatever, but yeah, because you hunt with everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, whatever gives me the advantage.
Right. We I don't know if you did you get a chance to listen to this week's show?
Yeah, the last
And
one.
you caught the crossbow
Oh, yeah.
stuff
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end. How did
Yep.
you feel about that being a crossbow hunter?
I mean, it don't bother me. I mean, it's not like I choose to use it over a compound. I'd much rather use my compound. This last year, I had issues with mine, and I have a crossbow just in case, because I'd rather be in the woods than sitting on my couch because my compound is in the shop or something.
Right.
So, I mean, if it comes down to that, then I'm going to be in the woods with a crossbow.
Well, and you said, too, like you like to hunt some clear cuts and things where you're just
Yeah.
sitting open on the ground,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah, some spots, there's no way you're pulling a bow back without a deer seeing you.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I guess it gives me advantage. It's not like I'm shooting 50 yards with it. I'm
Right.
shooting 20 or less.
But primarily you bow hunt, but you have a crossbow
yeah.
for certain situations
Yeah.
and for a backup.
Yeah, for a backup, which I'm definitely really debating on getting a recurve now, which, I could use for a backup if, anything went wrong with compound.
Yeah, that would be super fun to start playing around with.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to get
I
one.
was telling them, or at least Autumn said she had never shot one, so I
Mhm.
figured when we're done doing this, we could
Yeah.
fling a couple arrows
Yeah.
and try to shoot that thing. You
Growing
shoot mine.
up, I always, carp shooting, that's all I used was recurve.
Right.
So I've always shot one.
I took some heat. I got some email back from crossbow listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like it's just our general joking sense of humor. Like
Mhm.
we live and die by talking shit to
Yeah.
one another, like
Yeah.
my group of friends. So like, if we just nothing is taken to heart.
Yeah.
And I generally accidentally sometimes expect that from other people.
Uh-huh.
But, that's not the situation. I think especially when you're on a podcast and you're talking
Yeah.
and the people that are listening can't talk back and tell you how
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
stupid
yeah.
they think you are.
Yeah.
and bring up some valid points. I had a guy message in this week, a crossbow user.
Mhm.
And, he was upset about what we said and whatnot. And I said, hey, it's just joke. But, hey, Jason came on here and he made those statements and he may truly feel that way.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell him that he can't say that. I mean, there's plenty of shows podcasts, they'll say, hey, don't bring up the cross.
Yeah.
You're going to piss somebody off,
Yeah.
It's personal
But-
preference,
Yeah,
though, too.
this is America. You can
Yeah.
freedom of speech. You
Yeah.
can say whatever you feel.
If it's legal, then, you have every right to use it.
I personally don't like crossbows, and I would never use one unless I had like a physical handicap, because I feel like I would be cheating myself.
That's how I feel, too.
So
Yeah.
But it takes more skills. It takes
Mhm.
it takes a lot more to shoot a compound bow, than it does a crossbow. A crossbow, to me, is a
Mhm.
gun.
Well, it's the difference between archery and not
Mhm,
archery.
exactly.
Really. And I think it breaks down to that. And that's where, like, I have a couple good friends that are very opinionated on the side of, no crossbows. And that's fine. And their point is, it doesn't have a place in archery season.
Mhm.
Like, this is, your tag says archery,
Mhm.
and this doesn't qualify for archery. So I don't know how you remedy all that, but I got to thinking about it this week. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like if they made the bow season a little bit longer, which they'll probably never do in the state of Michigan, because gun season starts when it starts.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if they made bow season a little bit longer, then you could like tie in, a crossbow season at the end or something.
Right.
But I mean, I get it when people like Alex, he likes hunting with it in certain situations because he knows he's gonna be on the ground.
Right.
So
I mean, I guess I can see people's opposition to it, and people say it gives you an advantage, but so does a compound bow
Mhm.
over a
Right.
recurve.
Yeah, where do you draw
Mhm.
the line?
So does a
Yeah.
recurve
Mhm.
over a knife. Like,
or being in a tree stand.
yeah, if you're gonna boil it down to a flat line, you should be out there with your bare hands trying to tackle the thing.
Right.
Because I mean, anything you wear, you set in, you use is giving you advantage. But that's the point of being a predator.
Yeah.
You're out there to get the advantage.
Right. I agree.
I mean,
Well, here's one thing that got me thinking about it this week. Like, I've been so on the fence. Like, I'm so wishy-washy on, like, what do you do with this situation?
Yeah.
Because not everybody's going to be happy, right?
yeah,
And for me, generally, I'm just like, yeah, I would never personally hunt with a crossbow. But I had a guy, I was talking with a friend this week.
mm-hmm.
He's never hunted before.
Yeah.
He wants to hunt this year. I'm thinking, all right, it's important to me to get people into hunting that have never hunted before. And he's like willing to put the effort forward. But in my head, I'm thinking, dude, I don't have the fucking time to teach you how to shoot a bow and spend the time with you so that you're efficient. I mean, you're going to be under my watch when we go into the woods. I want you to be like, I want to be confident that you have the set of skills that you need to not wound a deer.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, man, it's going to be impossible for me. I don't have enough time to get my own shit done.
Yeah.
So, and then he's never hunted before. So he's got to learn everything. And, I'm thinking, well, maybe it could be next year. It's like, God, if you put it off for a whole, is it going to really happen? Then I thought, I'm like, I could teach him to shoot a crossbow in an hour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he does, like, he doesn't live in a place where he can shoot it every day. So that's fine. He could pick it back up in 3 months and shoot it again. And I'm confident I could take him out with him doing that a couple times and put him in front of a deer at 20 yards, and he's probably going to kill it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, right there, man, there's the hunter recruitment argument.
Yeah.
Like, the traditional community, which I'm part of, will say, well, if you bring them, young kids up with, a stick bow, then that's what they'll want to hunt with. Well, what about young adults?
Yeah.
What about people that are working and have families and don't have the time? I mean, it takes a lot of time, right?
A lot of dedication.
Right. I mean, how often do you shoot your bow?
I mean, more in the summer and the fall, but I mean, in the winter, there's times that I'm like, I'm not going out there to shoot right now. But yeah, I try to shoot 3-4 times a week just to be consistent.
Right. And if you lived in an apartment.
Exactly. Where are you going to shoot?
Yep.
You got your neighbors calling on you. There's somebody outside shooting their bow.
Right. Shooting it off your balcony down into the parking lot. Go ahead, take your groceries by. I'll wait.
I mean, they just come out with the just stats that hunter numbers are down quite a bit. And if it's the difference between someone getting in the woods and hunting and buying a deer license and not, then let them use a crossbow.
Right.
And I have a buddy who is not a good shot with a bow. He misses deer, he wounds them, and he's got a crossbow now, and he's killed several with it. So, I mean, his confidence is up. He wants to get out there now because he knows if he takes a shot, he's probably going to get the deer now instead of wounding him. And, I mean, he don't take it easily if he wounds a deer. And some people just, you can say, well, you need to practice more. Some people don't have the time.
I think that's where it comes to personal preference, because I see both your guys' sides there, honestly, because you're like, I'm a 25-year-old, 30-year-old man who now becomes your friend and thinks hunting is awesome. Well, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
He feels lost. He feels embarrassed. How do I learn how to do something like that? Give him a crossbow. Teach him in an hour or two. Let him,
Right.
Yep.
Whereas trying to start him young at 4 or 5 years old with a bow, they grow up that way with a compound. You know?
Yeah, I think my conversation with him will be, this makes sense for right now because you had a lot to learn. And we can get you effective and efficient with this in a very short period of time. And, not that I want people to support this platform, because I think it kind of sucks that a lot of the companies that are building crossbows just have them built in China as cheap as damn possible. And now you can buy a crossbow for, what, $299 for, like, a package?
Yep.
Like, I like to see people support,
Local.
American-made stuff, or at least, like, higher, I guess, quality things. I feel like it just cheapens the market. It's hard for a guy that's making a high-end custom bow, like even a stick bow, that's like $700, where people are like, well, I can just go buy this crossbow that's made in Japan with the cheapest parts for $299.
Yeah.
Now, I get that some people are financially limited to that, and, you got to take that into account too.
Yeah.
But my point being was my conversation with him is going to be, this is entry.
Yeah.
This is entry level for you. Like, learn this first, and then if you like it, then we can talk about getting you a compound bow.
Yeah.
But I don't think the idea is, and maybe he wants to continue to hunt with that. I don't know, man. It's such a fucking...
Well, there's a lot of
Fine
guys
line.
that have used compounds, and then they start using stick bow because compound just got a little too easy for them.
Yeah, it's everybody's preference, right?
So, that's not saying someone can start with a crossbow and not move to a compound and then maybe do a stick bow.
Yeah,
eventually.
I could take him out his first time, and he might end up shooting the deer with the crossbow in the ass. I'm like, all right, we got a long road ahead of us here,
Yeah. Yep.
But, yeah, it made me think. I'm like, how do I talk all the time about getting people into the outdoors.
Yeah.
So, man, it's hard for me to justify saying, well, don't use this means, because that seems like the one that's plausible that I could actually get them to.
Well, I mean, some of the people, some people, you got to get them in by, doing something that's going to be successful and
Building
easy.
confidence.
Yeah, right away. You
Mhm.
can't,
Yeah.
you can't introduce a guy with a stick bow and have him, miss 30 deer and expect him to still like it, Some people will, but others don't. So it's, some people are just better to get them started with something easy and let them progress from there.
Yeah, like you said, Alex, your friend. I mean, now his
Yeah.
confidence is built up,
Yep.
and now he's like, all right, now I feel better about this, and now he is taking hunting. I
Yeah.
wounded a deer.
Yep.
I'm going to take 2-3 days off and
Yep.
look for it and
Yep.
be upset about
Oh,
it.
and this year he was so excited when he got that buck.
Oh, yeah, he got a big 6-point gun season.
Mhm.
He
He was so
was-
excited.
yeah.
He was taking that thing around to everyone in his vehicle,
Mhm.
showing it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing, too. I got a buddy that I've hunted with my whole life, and it's not that he didn't invest the time. He just was never good at archery.
Mhm.
It's, it's something that some people are good at and some people aren't. Some people are athletes and
Yep.
some people aren't. Hand-eye coordination, that whole deal is
Mhm.
important. So
Yep.
not everybody, I mean, some people can just naturally pick a bow up and shoot it.
Mhm.
Some people, it takes a lot of work. Some people, I've seen put a lot of work in and they still suck at shooting it. So that's always been one of the things that I kind of stand behind too, is like, I rather see somebody go out and kill a deer than wound 3 a season.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think it helps too, when you're practicing, you're shooting at something that isn't just a box. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
or a target. Like Alex and I went and did a 3D shoot, and that was fun because it's all different sizes, of animals and stuff. So I think that helps
sure.
your shot.
Yep. I would agree with that.
And sometimes, like, when I shoot, I try visualizing, like, okay, that's the animal I'm going to kill. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I think you just get too comfortable with target practice.
Mhm.
And then,
Just shoot in the box.
yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're in the tree stand.
Yeah, and you're like,
Mhm.
shit.
Yeah. No, it's a big
Yeah.
difference, shooting in your t-shirt when it's 80 degrees out in the
Yeah.
summer off flat ground
Mhm.
versus being in a tree stand and trying to shoot when it's 20 degrees out and you're in bulky clothes. It's just totally different.
Mhm.
Yeah, and your feet are freezing.
So for somebody to try to pick that all up in a year,
Yeah.
I was thinking in my
Mhm.
head, I was like, how am I going to swing this? And I was like,
Plus, you don't want to
get a
discourage someone
crossbow.
from not wanting to go out to hunt
Not
and
at all.
pursue something
Yeah.
as
that's the bigger
fun as
picture.
hunting. It is.
There's little groups of mindsets within the whole hunting culture. But when you look at the broader picture, what's best for hunting?
Mhm.
Just period. End of story. What's
Mhm.
what's best for hunting? I don't know that I have an argument against having crossbows. I don't know what the rules and I'm not saying the rules and regulations should be exactly what they are now, but I don't think it would be good to just not have them at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I think another point with that, the 3D archery, like going shooting those courses or just targets alone, you get a good idea of like your arrow trajectory. Like, if it's quartering away and you hit it here, you can actually walk up there and then see, okay, my arrow would have come out here
Mhm.
on the opposite side.
Yeah.
So if it's quartering to you, you get okay, I got to shoot it right up tight to the shoulder. If it's quartering away, I aim towards the back of the ribs. And that's something, if you shoot a bag, you'd never realize.
Right.
But shooting a 3D target, you can actually see that.
Right. You're definitely right. And that is a smaller margin than what
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
people think. Typically, that angle plays
Yep.
a big. I've shot a couple deer. This hasn't happened to me in a couple years, because after it happened a couple times, I was like, "What is going on?"
Mm-hmm.
And then I really buttoned down and spent some time looking at deer anatomy. And you're like, "Yeah, that probably wasn't perfect." And if you only get that one lung,
Yep.
Yep.
very good chance you're not gonna.
Breeze had some experience
Yeah,
with that.
How long? That was, 3 years ago?
Uh,
The one I shot that we tracked.
Yeah, 3 years ago, and then
Yeah.
the one was
I shot-
6 years ago.
Yeah, I
think.
shot a 7-point. That was a couple years ago, anyways.
I think it was 3.
3
3
years
years.
ago, yeah. And we had good blood. it was spraying. It was out in a field on these tall weeds, and I just didn't have good penetration with my arrow. I only hit one lung. It ran. We got a tracking dog. He was still alive.
Right.
And that was
25 hours later.
25 hours later, and that was the most frustrating thing for me, because I respect that animal so much, and to put like a poor shot on something, it really bothers me.
It makes you sick to your stomach.
Yeah, and it wasn't a poor shot. It was just, I pull back 50 pounds. My arrow wasn't heavy enough. I'm shooting FMJs this last year I did, and we tested like the penetration with different broadheads and picked the best one, and
nice.
So yeah.
And you're shooting a lot more consistent with those heavier arrows than the ones you had
I've found
before.
that to be kind of across the board a little heavier.
Yeah.
It'll quiet your bow up a little bit.
Yep.
And yeah, you'll have a little more consistent flight. You just got to take into account that you're not going to have as flat of a trajectory, so you got to be a little more critical of your yardage.
Yeah, you could see the arc a little bit when you shot.
Yeah.
Right. But those FMJs are good. They are really heavy.
Yeah.
I liked them a lot.
Yep. And then that one 6 years ago, I think that was more, because obviously you have your angle, quartering to, quartering away, broadside, all that. But then the higher you are up in the tree, also, as an angle you got to factor.
Yeah,
in.
I mean, my dad hangs tree stands like at the tippy top as far as he can go up with it.
Yeah, he's hunting Michigan deer.
That one she was probably 30 feet up in the tree in the stand, but then the deer was also down a little hill too. So I mean, it was probably 35 to 40 feet down.
Jesus.
And it was fairly close. And if she was on the ground, she would have hard shot it. But because she had that steep of an angle, it went in, come right back out, right, behind the armpit.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I've been conscious of that now. I used to do that, hang tree stands 30 feet, and it definitely narrows down your window.
Yeah.
I've started a couple of years ago hunting off the ground, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. The deer's like this big. But this has its own set of problematic circumstances hunting on the ground. But yeah, I think there's a middle spot, right?
I think that's something that's just, even my dad, I think both our dads are like that. I mean, I think it's older people, climb up trees, that's where I'm placing it, no matter where it's at. If there's a fork in the tree and it's 40 feet, that's where I'm sitting.
Yeah, and like my dad, if he listens to this, he's gonna not be very happy, but I do not like hunting over bait piles.
Yeah.
Hate it. Absolutely hate it. And he'll tell me, that cornfield over there that you're hunting over, bait. Food plots, bait. Okay, yeah, that's bait, but it's a natural food source. A buck's gonna come in there or possibly bed in that cornfield, because that is a natural area. That's a natural environment.
Right.
That bait pile is not. I have been in a tree stand before with my dad's bait pile down on the ground, and I have watched bucks come downwind of me, not because that's the way that they were going to come, but because they know that bait pile is there, and they want to smell everything that's at that bait pile.
Right. The problem with bait is you can't get it there without putting your smell down.
Right.
Like deer they don't think like, oh, look at this, just fell out of this tree. It's a carrot tree. It's amazing. They know what's up, but they take a calculated risk, and they rely on their senses. I am actually surprised more of them don't figure it out, but it's typically young deer, year and a half old bucks, and that season's fawns that are the ones that usually fall prey to that. And I've hunted both ways for forever, without bait and with bait. But yeah, I can understand that. And now with chronic wasting disease moving into Michigan, there's a very good chance that baiting might get shut down here in the future, which is what a lot of people want. And I'm kind of interested to see how it affects everything, because there's one thing about baiting. If other people in the area are baiting, it definitely draws
all the deer.
It changes everything.
Well, that's like even our neighbor who hunts next to us. I mean, he I don't even know what's on his bait pile, and I couldn't tell you, but you can literally see our deer walk right through our woods and go right to his woods to his bait pile.
Sure.
And you're like, what, has he got gold over there?
Yeah. Well, like, it was really refreshing this year because I got permission to hunt on a piece of land, and it was nice to be able to have opportunities to shoot a mature deer, you know, taking their natural route.
Right.
I was on the ground. I don't even know how big it was, but it was big, and I was up against the down tree. This was during bow season, and I had a buck come within 7 yards of me, and I could not draw on him. I was so frustrated. It was the most frustrating thing ever.
Yeah, it was probably pretty exciting, though.
Oh, my
I was
gosh,
gonna say,
yeah.
you're shaking.
I actually wasn't. I was actually pretty calm because I knew I wanted to kill it. But I just never had the opportunity to actually draw on it.
Yeah.
And then once it got a little bit behind me, because it went through this nasty, thick stuff, it smelled me.
Had you been sitting there, or were you going somewhere? And
I actually had started out in a tree stand, and I was like, this just doesn't feel right now. So I got down, and I had never even seen that down tree. It was a root system. It was probably like 6 foot tall, probably.
Yeah.
And I was up against it, you know, so it was a nice backdrop for me. And that buck came right down the tree line, and then veered in through some thick stuff. And
Would you have seen him if you were in your tree stand?
no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was cutting around behind you, right? And it smelt you and ended up taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got permission on that property this year, and you know, I told her, you get permission for yourself. I'm not hunting it. And she did, and I hung her up a stand out there. But I've just let her go out and do it all on her own. I feel like that helps people learn
For sure.
quicker. you
Yeah, I
know?
think that's very uncommon, and well, you guys can, you know, tell me more in detail. But like when husband and wives hunt together, I mean,
We don't even hunt together.
yeah,
Yeah, like on state land, I'll
He
set her
leaves
up
me
in
to
a
fend for
spot.
myself.
But I just feel like
Oh,
if
look what
I'm
you're
there,
learning,
you know, do this, do that, do this.
right,
They're gonna do this. Oh, they're doing that. Like, she's not gonna learn as much.
right,
You know, she's out there on her own and seeing it for herself and figuring it out on her own. She's gonna learn a lot quicker than if I was there just telling her everything.
Did you start hunting with your dad when you were younger? Before you guys
I was-
obviously met.
Yeah, I was introduced to the outdoors when I was younger, you know, but like Autumn, she grew up with a sister, so she was like the boy of the family. And then I had a brother, and my dad was like, you know, taking my brother out to do all this stuff, and then I got left home. But I enjoyed the outdoors. Loved fishing. I had gone out a few times during deer season, but I never had a bow. I would go out with a gun, which I don't really enjoy gun season as much. And then I met Alex when I was 21, and then it kind of all just changed. You know, he bought me a bow. I think we were together a year.
Yeah, you were together a year because I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
He got me a bow. I'm like, what? Where did
Yeah.
you find this guy?
Yeah, and then I really got into hunting a lot more. And then I ended up upgrading to a Matthews 2 years later.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I've definitely gotten not more interested in it, but I've had more opportunities to get out and, you know, be better since I've been with him.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I think it's just the kind of the guy mentality. He's like, oh, I'll take you and I'll show you, and you're gonna do it this way and that way. And
Yeah.
I think it's cool that you let her,
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
not let her, but it's cool that that's your mentality, that's your
yeah.
approach.
And when she gets in from hunting, or you know, that night or whatever, we'll talk about what happened, and
Yeah, we love like
I'll
sitting down and
I'll
talking about
explain
it.
if something happened and she don't quite understand why. I try to help her understand what it could have been or why. But I like her to just see it and think on her own as to why that deer's doing what it's doing.
Right.
And she's picking a lot of her own spots. So
Yeah, that's really cool. I wonder if that's one of the reasons that a lot more women don't stick with it, because I've seen a lot of girls, they'll like start dating a guy that hunts and they'll get into it, and then as soon as they split, you know, if something doesn't work out, they separate. She's done with it. And I wonder if a lot of it is that like guys are just trying to take the reins and show them everything versus like
Teaching
you know
them.
yeah letting them be independent about it and figuring it out on their own.
Yep. Well, and she's pretty independent on her, you know.
I
as
would
it
rather
is,
him
so-
not show me. I would rather
Yeah.
figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
I get
So.
that. Well, you've sent me text messages before in the fall where I'm like, hey, it's awesome, you out? And you're like, nope, I'm at
Yeah.
home taking care of the dogs. Wife's out hunting. Like,
Yeah.
there's a set of circumstances.
Yeah.
Well, we said, like, if we ever have kids, like, I told him, I was like, it has to be like 50-50. He's like
does.
60-40.
Take them in the car seat.
I'll watch
60-40
'em.
or I'm going to get snipped right now. Deal or no deal.
I'll watch them October 1st to about the 20th. Then you get to watch them. For the
Yeah,
whole
you'll have
rut.
all kinds of bartering chips and
Yeah.
things you guys can explore in that region. But yeah, because I want to get my wife hunting. You know, I was telling you before they got here that she's never really hunted before. She's been out with me a couple times and sitting in a tree stand. We didn't see much. She kind of found it boring. But now she she really has like a passion for the outdoors and hiking and whatnot. So she wants us to incorporate a bit of that. So what we're going to try to do this fall is do some backpack hunting up in northern Michigan and some camping and make it more of an experience, you know. And she's like, I don't care if I get a deer. Like, you better get deer. Like, but, you know, for me, that's not what she wants to experience or whatever. Because I was like, well, we can, you know, get you set up with this and make the opportunity as abundant as possible. And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'd rather just like try to stalk them on the ground and this and that. I'm like, well, we're never gonna fucking kill a deer. You want to start off stalking them on the ground? She's like, well, Jared Scheffler does it all the time.
Oh my God.
And I'm
Makes it
like,
look easy.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, he's like a diamond in the rough of the rough. But so yeah, it'll be interesting to see like go through this season. And you know, you just already got me thinking, like, I need to let her do some of this on her own, because I've been doing this for 22 years. Yeah, 22 years now I've been deer hunting by myself. My grandpa hunted with me a little bit, but like the first time I ever went hunting was by myself. And I hunted the first 2 years by myself before I ever went hunting with my grandfather. And then he took me gun hunting. And, you know, he taught me to go to a deer blind and pour a bucket of corn out and then sit there. So there is a lot to be learned. And that's definitely a huge part of the whole thing, is like figuring out what you did wrong.
Yeah.
And then making those adjustments. And if you're not having that part of it, I could see how it would just be like, yeah, this is okay.
Yeah.
I see that. I think that's what I'm so thankful for, is because my dad started when I was so young. It wasn't like I started, you know, like you met Alex, and Alex taught you so much. You know, you didn't have the privilege. You had you know, you had your brother that took your spot, where I grew up with my dad, and, you know, I was 4 years old and I started tracking with him, and that's what got me started. I was like, I could find a little speck of blood, and he's like, all right, you're coming with me from now on. And I was like, all right. Then it was more of like, this was fun. And then I got to sit in between his legs in the tree stand, and Dad, there's a deer. Where? I don't even see him. Like, right there. He's like, no way, here it comes. So I think starting young has definitely helped, and has definitely given my passion for hunting and the outdoors it's just amazing. And when I talk to people about it, they're like, what? You sit in a tree stand for 4 hours, 5 hours? Like, that's, do you get cold? Do you get bored? I'm like, no, like, you're one. I mean, it sounds cliche, but you're one with the woods. You get to wake up with it. You get to go to bed with it. Like, I don't know. It's you have to have a passion for it.
Yeah.
What would you say the general response is? I'm sure it's different all across the board. But, like, when you're maybe at lunch at work or whatever, and you're talking to a girl or a group of women, and they ask what you did this weekend, and they're like, oh, I went hunting. And they're like, what? Like,
I'll tell you actually what happened yesterday. I was at work, and I had made venison spaghetti the night before, and I took leftovers to work, and she's like, you're eating deer? And I was like, yeah. She's like, she did. What's that? Is that smell is? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's so gross. Do you do it yourself? I'm like, do what myself? Like, do you want to clarify? Like, and that's just where I'm at, or where I'm living now compared to where I grew up at. It's just a different.
You could specify you're living in Ann Arbor.
Yes, I live in Ann Arbor. And don't get me wrong, there's people out there who hunt Saline, and there's monsters out there. But there are women who just, they don't understand the concept. Like, that is a man's thing to do.
Yeah, the Ann Arbor's known to be a little bit more of a liberal demographic, without question.
Yep. But I mean, even growing up where I did in the Thumb, girls I went to school with, it was just like, we're going to the football game tonight. I was like, oh, I'm going hunting with my dad. What? And I became accustomed to hanging out with the guys at school because that's what we did. We hunted.
So do you feel like the conversation usually goes good or bad? Or is it like a different all around?
With females,
Yeah.
I would say they're
Like, are they
a little
generally
intimidated, I would say, because they're, one, they don't know how to further the conversation because they don't know what to talk about. But I would say they're a little more intimidated. I think they're actually like, wow, this girl's pretty cool. She can do that stuff. Usually, like my brother or my dad does that, not girls. That's pretty cool.
Or like some girls at work will be like, you're so weird.
Yeah. And that's what I was about to say. Or you get the opposite and they're like, God, this girl is so weird. Why does she do that? It's so gross.
Yeah, I mean, just from my perspective, watching women like socialize, there's like the ones that are like really interested, and I think it comes down to, like, I think you just said intimidated. It comes down to the women that their first response is intimidation or interest. And some women are just confident and they don't give a shit, but some women are intimidated by that. And guys are very very much the same way, where we're competitive, and I think women are even more so.
I think so,
especially
too.
against each other.
Yes.
And that drives a lot of the social aspect of, women talking shit about each other. And we'll get into the whole reason why I brought you guys over here today. We're going down it right now. But it's, I'm wondering how, like, what the percentage is. Where is it, would you say it's more like taken negatively or more like positively, or is it hard to say because
I would say more negatively, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
that's a problem?
It is a problem. And I read magazines and they're saying, oh, the increase of female hunters is going up. And
It's
I'm like,
not.
I don't see it.
I think it's the increase of females who want attention because
Are they going off
Well,
tag statistics?
I will tell you this.
Right.
Yes.
So my husband hunts. Hey, you go buy a tag. So now I have 2 more. Is that what they're going off of? Is that
Well,
how they
there's a
see it?
market now for women's garments that didn't exist.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it's starting to happen. And I think a lot of the talk and the hype is that they're building excitement around it and trying to let women know that, hey, you can go do this too. But I think we're very far from that. And a lot of it revolves around what you just said. Like, women are very conscious of how they're accepted socially. And I think a lot of that is our fault, guys' fault. We'll get into that too. Like,
Well, that's the thing too. Is women think that men are supposed to portray them as high heel skirts, and you go to work and you work this nice job. But I'm not saying we can't do that. But I'm also saying, when I talk to a group of guys that when I'm dressed all up and they're, wait, you hunt? Yeah, that's my truck out in the parking lot too. They're like, holy crap! And this is my buck I shot last year. Like, holy shit, no way!
right.
Like, then they want to talk to you, and they think that's so cool that a female is hunting.
Right.
And why does it have to be something? Why does hunting have to be masculine? That's the thing that I do not understand. Why does it have to be viewed as like something that's masculine?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Women in society is changing so much. Roles are changing. Men and women are a lot more equal
Dude,
now.
I'm telling you right now, a guy was messaging me like a week ago. He's like, how do you like get so much time to hunt and without your wife like giving you a gripe, And I'm like, dude, I do a lot of what's classified as the female responsibilities around the home.
Yeah.
I clean floors. I do laundry. I wash dishes. I don't change diapers anymore because we got a potty trained kid. But like, dude, I just get in front of her and like do it. And my foundation of thought is, I'm going to get ahead of this, make your life easier, so that when I need time, which is adds to your workload because I'm not here, like that it tries to. That it balances out. And I'm fortunate that I have a wife that's really motivated and she pursues she needs time too. So like we do a good job, I think, of balancing it. But yeah, for the guy that, thinks that, well, I don't need to wash dishes or do laundry or any of this, like that's, the woman's responsibility. Well, when hunting season comes around, you're probably going to catch more shit than me.
Yeah.
Well, it's even like opening days of gun season when they always have like women events that night.
Yeah.
Because the
Oh,
guys
yeah,
are
yeah,
hunting.
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Like Zumba night,
Oh,
and yoga.
yeah, widow.
Widow.
Widow,
Yeah.
Widow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my wife said that before. She's like, I don't want to fucking be at that. I want to be with you guys.
no kidding. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think she's encountered a couple of those situations, and she's like, all the women do is get together and talk shit about their husband, and I talk nice about you, and they think I'm a weirdo. It's kind of funny.
I never like growing up. My grandma hunts. She's hunted since I was born. She's always hunted, but I never realized not a lot of women hunted because I always seen her hunting. But as I got older, I started realizing it, and now it does seem like there's more women hunting, but it's not like I don't feel like they're just coming out of the woodwork.
Your grandma did it because she had to put food on the table, and she enjoyed it.
Yeah, she enjoys it. I mean, she shoots a deer pretty much every year. So, but I mean, she's always. I guess I don't know. I don't think she ever felt like it was weird that she was a woman and hunted. She's just something she did.
Right. So it's interesting because yes, there will be girls that hunt. And they'll have, I'm just going to use Instagram for an example because I have an Instagram and I use it very often. It's actually where I showcase most of the content, like pictures and little short video clips and stuff for what we do on the show. Because it's a very user-friendly and it's a little less negative, I would say, than Facebook. You don't
I would
even
agree
have
with
a
you.
Facebook,
I don't even
right?
have Facebook. It's been 5 years and I will not go
Right.
back.
Yeah. So, you'll go on there and you'll see a female that's like really into hunting. Like you look at her page, like holy crap, she's killed like a lot of stuff, and she does it herself, and she's tapping maple syrup trees and doing all this stuff, and she'll have 120 followers, And then the counter to that is you'll go to a girl's page, and now doing what I do, I talk to a lot of guys that run companies and whatnot, and they do ambassadors and partnerships and sponsorships and whatnot. And, the whole point of that is to get your products out, and then those people are coming at you saying, hey, I'd like a sponsorship or whatever. Well, what looks better? When you have 100 followers or when you have 60,000 followers? And it's pretty simple for some girls to just be like, fuck it. I'm just going to go straight up in my bikini and you just get right behind me with the camera and shove that thing right up my ass, basically. Shove that thing right up my ass and, get it from this, this point right here, and then we're going to post that photo and it's going to get 100,000 likes and I'm going to have
more than that.
60,000 followers.
Yeah.
It's funny they would have never bow fished until
Oh,
I can do
Bikini
this in a
bow
bikini.
fishing.
Yeah.
Right, I know.
Oh yeah. I didn't.
their legs went from 100 to 100,000.
Yeah.
Right. And, I don't want to crucify a girl that wants to do that. That's like, what? I've always had a weird, and my wife's going to beat the shit out of me, like, when she listens back to this. and I don't have much place, like, talking about I'm not a girl, so I don't fucking know. But, I always thought it was weird that, like, guys can walk around in bathing suits and their shirts off or whatever. It's just socially normal. But if a girl does that in, like, some kind of social place, it's like that's,
Yeah.
or look at that. And you know what? Like, why don't you guys just...
Yeah, you never hear of like a man being a whore. He's a man.
Well,
whore.
just use Cameron Haynes for example, because like there's, if you go down his Instagram feed, there's going to be photos of him with his shirt off shooting his bow, and it's going to have a ton of likes, and it's going to have a bunch of people saying you're such a positive this and that. But a girl posts the exact same photo, and you go down and read that, and half of them will be like, "Oh, you're great," and then other ones will be like, "Put your shirt on, you whore," and it's just like, geez, like, why can he do this but she can't? I don't really fully understand it, but I think a little bit comes back to the intimidation. Like, sometimes I think it's easy for girls to jump on each other's cases. God, I'm getting...
It's like territorial.
Yeah, I think so,
of.
too. So I don't want to crucify some girl that's like really into bow hunting or hunting and just happens to like love being on the water and is a bikini, or maybe she friggin' her boyfriend didn't bow fish until he met her, and she's got her own bow fishing boat. You just never know the backstory. But there's a lot of horse shit too, as far as like, you know, you look down the page and that's all it is, and this person's never shot anything in their life, and they're actually just a model, and they got paid to come out and do these photos. I mean, you really gotta sort through it. But if companies can go down that avenue and market products, it's pretty simple science. I mean, sports, you name it, right? Sex sells, gets attention. But I think where the problem lies is that hunting has always been a very pure, a very pure activity. It's a somewhat of a family activity. The demographic has always been more conservative. So when you start like snowballing like softcore porn into it, people are going to get worked up.
Well,
that's what bothers me is when you do that. You know, why do you...
I think I actually tagged you on it one time. There was a girl with no shirt on and her flannel was undone, and she's holding the bow above her head, posing.
You sent it to me, I think.
And no, that's a different one.
And I'm just like, you got 9 million likes, but are you selling her or are you selling the bow? But it's on a hunting page. I'm confused. You're making us look ridiculous.
Right. And that's why I don't like posting, many pictures of me hunting at all, because...
See, which sucks, because...
But that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't have to be afraid to do that. If you want to post a picture that you're hunting and you want the hunting page to like it, you shouldn't be opposed or feel bad about it.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to get misjudged.
Right. It's a real complicated thing, because you'll have women like Eva Shockey, who's pretty good representative of a sportswoman, however you want to look at it. Genuinely seems like a pretty good person. And, I mean, she takes a lot of death threats through email and whatnot. And it's like, that is so crazy to think that someone would be willing to go through the effort to type up a death threat and send it to her. But that's the kind of, it's just more attention. Like, any guy that's going out doing that stuff is not going to get the kind of attention that females are going to get.
Well, and like, perfect example of Eva Shockey, this was, I think, 2 years ago. I had posted something with her on it, and it said, like, to all my camo clad women, like something about stay classy or whatever. And I had said, like, if I could meet anyone, I would want to meet her, and it was my status. And a girl commented on it
on Facebook
and was like belittling what I said, like saying that just because you wear camo doesn't mean you're a hunter, and stuff like that. And that just kind of like, it really was annoying.
She's intimidated. That's like
what it comes down to.
Psychologically, yeah, it really does break down into that. Like, it's intimidating to her that you are willing to put forth the effort to do something like this, and maybe she's not, or maybe she's scared by it. It's just this reactionary statement.
Yeah, I just did not understand it.
And then the next thing you know, you're a whore.
Yeah.
Yep.
It just seems like that's like always been a go-to. Never in my life have I ever called a girl that, no matter what she's ever done to me. And I've had some women do some bad shit to me. I've done some bad stuff. My wife knows my past, so she listens to all these. So I won't go into too much detail. But I have never used that term. I've called girls bitches. I've probably called them other things, but I've never called them like a slut or a whore. That always drove me crazy. And like, from a young age, I don't know why. I spent a lot of time with my mom growing up and my grandma. And I always thought that made like a double standard, because like, guys don't get that said about them. Like, why is that this easy ticket punch and women use it against each other
all the time
too, right? And I'm just wondering if the foundation of that mentality is something that holds women down from being opportunists. And like you said, like, why would you ever... should you have to think twice about posting a photo about doing something that you love to do?
Right.
And part of it is because you anticipate backlash, like that girl doing that.
But you're also confident. And
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that you have to be in,
Right.
in the sport that we're in, is you have to have confidence. You have to stand behind what you believe in and what you're passionate about.
Well, it'd probably be similar to like if you started posting pictures about crocheting, and sewing. I mean, you're gonna get a lot of
Yeah.
guys calling you out.
Wine tasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are
Yeah,
you still
you're right.
married?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
No, yeah, there's validity to that. But I want that to change because as hunter numbers, you know, my wife is a good example because we were talking earlier before you got here. You know, she had a boyfriend before we had ever met that he hunted, but like they were a very poor representation of, you know, they would just go out, kill everything, no respect, blah, blah, blah. And that was her impression of hunters. And then I came in the picture, I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Like, that guy sucked.
You had a respect for the game. You had a
Right.
respect for the...
And, you know, years later, she's, you know, when I'm cooking venison on the grill, and if you have a 3-year-old, you can relate to this. It's hard to get kids to eat food. Like, they're like, mac and cheese, cereal bars. That's all they want to eat. But I'm not shitting you. My kid's favorite food is probably venison off the grill. Fortunate for us, he just loves that stuff. So, like, for me at that point, my wife was just like, you know, I am all in. Like, this is clean food. It doesn't cost nearly as much as going to the store to buy beef. I mean, obviously, you have your equipment overhead and all that stuff, but when you break it, if you're just breaking it down off the table by the pound, I think venison, the way that I process it, breaks down to like 90 cents a pound.
Well, and like that's part of the reason I love hunting and fishing is, you know, if I go to the grocery store and get chicken, I'm going to spend extra money to get organic chicken. And it's nice with hunting because you know where that came from. You know where that fish came from.
You provided it.
Right. And, you know, we both, in the summertime, we have a garden.
Mm-hmm.
We grow all our stuff. And it's just nice to know where your food's coming from, you know.
I completely agree. 100%. And I'll tell you this. My wife and I were just having this conversation. Last weekend, we bought steak from the butcher. And we hadn't had steak in, I don't know, a year, probably, like beef. And I went and bought a couple of really expensive steaks, and I was pretty excited about it, you know. And he cooked them, and we were both like, that was a little disappointing. My wife's like, yeah, I'm pretty much sure that I don't want to eat that anymore. I like venison a whole lot more. And we had venison again yesterday, and we were both just like, yep, for sure.
Yep.
There's no reason to go buy beef anymore. Like, now that I know how to butcher it and cook it and do everything right, can't replicate it.
Yeah, we make those reverse seared back straps, and your mouth is like watering.
Yep, I do
so
it on the
good.
grill with hardwood charcoal, and it's just stupid good.
Yeah. We don't even like to, I mean, I don't remember last time we went to a restaurant and ate and weren't disappointed.
Sure.
Because we know we can make something better at home with wild game.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
why are we going and spending the money at a restaurant when we can make something just as good? Yeah, we don't have to cook it at the restaurant, but it's
Right.
not as good.
Yeah, and you feel like shit for about 3 hours
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
you eat.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, finally, I feel like
Yeah.
I can do stuff again.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did I speak too out of line about women's mentality? Like, it's
No.
just like I'm just seeing it from
I don't think so either.
I'm trying to look at it, you know, from an outside view of like, why isn't this more popular? Because I feel like it's so much fun, and you know, girlfriends in the past and my wife have even said from time to time, like, well, you guys get to go hunting, like, there's just not that much stuff that, what am I supposed to do, you know, like hobby wise and this and that. She's like, I don't like to shop. I'm not into like the stereotypical stuff. I'm like, well, you can hunt too. Like, it's super fun. You'd probably really love it.
I think part of the thing that draws women away from hunting is the fact that they don't want to kill an animal, you know. But if you're not a strict vegetarian, the animal that you are buying at the store was killed. And deer live in a much better environment than
Right.
that cow did.
Oh, and I got a scientific argument that I can, if anybody has 30 minutes and they want to sit down and go at it with me, like, scientifically, this makes the most sense. Like, it's backed up by stats, numbers, data. If you're a vegan and you think your footprint's smaller than mine, you're fucking dead wrong. I'll I'm yet to meet one that can point me in the other direction. I'm open to anybody that would be willing to have that argument with me and try to show me otherwise, but unless you're fucking planting your own soybean farm behind your house by hand without a tractor and you're not using pesticides, my footprint is smaller than yours.
Yep.
You're going to go bulldoze a 100-acre woodlot that houses all these wild animals so that you can have a monocultured bean field that's a desert for 6 months out of the year and supports no wildlife.
No wildlife, yeah.
And then you're going to go run it over with a tractor and kill every little bit of wildlife that does exist on this tiny little level just so you could make a soybean hot dog.
Well, and like with hunting, you know, people are like, don't kill animals, you know, but you're taking care of the wilderness. You're caring for it. That deer isn't, you know, getting hit by a car, dying from old age.
Right.
Disease,
yeah.
I'm taking one life to save 100.
And you're doing it because you enjoy doing it.
Right.
And it's beneficial for your body.
The next time a vegan like starts giving you shit, it's really simple to ask them, well, when's the last time that you bought a hunting tag? And they'll say, never, I hate hunting. Well, all that money goes into supporting and you take a tag away from, you could buy that tag and you could stash it in your dresser, and that's one less animal that's not going to get killed, and all that money goes in the system. So why aren't you buying hunting tags if you're that passionate about it? And they'll sit there with a blank look on their face. You're full of shit, dude.
Totally valid point.
It's you're basically engulfed in an ideology that science doesn't back up. Drives me nuts. But I don't want to I always look at an opportunity anytime I meet one of those people and we start that conversation as like such an opportunity to no, listen, our mindset's the same. I don't want to kill a bunch of animals.
Right, you're
and
not
be
just
crazy
going out
either.
and slaughtering
Yeah.
them.
Right.
You're doing it.
You're trying to have a less of an impact.
Right.
I get what you're trying to achieve, but you're taking the wrong road.
And if I kill something, I have the ultimate respect for that, whatever I just killed.
Right.
Yeah, it comes back to, wounding it. You're sick to your stomach. You take
Right.
2-3 days off of work. You're looking for it.
I don't know about 2-3 days, but
I did. My boss didn't understand.
but yeah, I mean,
And I'm not saying everybody has to hunt,
right.
but I think everybody should. I don't think there should be people that are adamant against it. And I always think that's an opportunity. A lot of people go the wrong way with it on social media. You know, they're just real quick to jump on each other's throats and start calling names and shit. And I'm like, not doing hunting any favors by doing that. There's a conversation to be had. You're being childish and you're approaching it the wrong way. And I did that for a long time. I grew up as a Ted Nugent disciple. You know. Trained in the manner of attack. It wasn't until I got into my late 20s and 30s. And actually now that there's platforms like Ranella.
You realize you
Meat
probably shouldn't be
Eater,
I
president.
love that show.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. No, I'm surprised he's not vice president right now. It'd really make the whole thing come full circle. There'd be skeet shooting parties at the White House every Sunday. But, yeah, no, it's just my 2 cents worth. My brother has a young daughter, and, we want to expose her to this. And, I want her to do it the right. I mean, let's say she gets really into it, and a company's like, oh, we'd like to sponsor, but we'd like her to throw some bikini shots up on her Instagram. Be like, oh, cool. Where's your address so I can come over and slice your throat? But at the same time, if she wants to shoot her bow in the backyard and it's 95 degrees out and she's in a bikini, I don't think a bunch of women should be jumping on her shit, telling her, oh, you're a you know what I mean? It's just a sensitive topic. I don't know how you go about dealing with it, but I think that's part of the reason why there's more women are they're on the fence about what you said, should I even post this? And you're like, there's no question. I love hunting. You're not going to.
Right, and I'm not trying to gain any attention. People post stuff that they enjoy doing, So I don't know.
So how do you think that we could go about, like, upping recruitment for women?
I think just making a more positive statement about women hunters would help.
Guys getting more behind them?
Mm-hmm.
Because the guys, I mean, I don't know what the percentage of the numbers are for hunting licenses purchased, or like what the demographic is, how many male hunters there are to females, but it's a huge percentage of guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's a lot of it's on guys to like kind of stand behind and really honestly like back them up to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I know most guys, that I know, when they start dating a girl, they'd
Yeah.
love them to start hunting.
Right.
A lot of them try to get them. Just some women don't like to, but I know most of my friends, if they like hunting, they would love it if their girlfriend or wife hunted.
Well, it's
So-
something you get to share together.
Yeah,
And some
yeah.
The
Yeah.
time
share.
is,
Yep.
I mean, out of all of your friends, I think I'm the only one.
Yeah.
So if I get together with like all those girls, we have like nothing in common.
But then again,
So,
and then that's where it comes
yeah.
back to getting the bad name, is because now you're hanging out
Mhm.
with all the guys, and all the women think, oh, here she is.
oh,
just
my wife
Yeah.
dealt with that shit. She
Mhm.
liked hanging out. She had a bunch of
Mhm.
guy friends, and she would catch shit
Yeah.
from girls all the time, and it couldn't have been farther misplaced
Mm-hmm.
for the stereotypical, why are you hanging out with that
Yep.
S word.
Yeah.
Start watching my mouth on here. Parents are probably gonna listen to this.
But I know
Who's that asshole on the ice swearing and cussing up a
It's
storm?
Alex. It's Alex. Yeah.
No. there's it seems like a lot of the women that do get into hunting, with their boyfriend or husband, seems like they were introduced as a young girl by their fathers,
Right.
and that was in their family. It's not very often that you get one that wasn't
Right.
exposed to it at all growing up, and then they meet a guy and he likes hunting, that they just jump right into it and stay into it. Seems like most women were exposed to it as a little girl, and maybe they got away from it for a little bit, but when they meet a guy who likes to do it and wants to involve them, then it kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was exposed to it. My dad, it was just, that was like his time to get away, That's,
Mhm.
he went out, went hunting, and,
But I mean, you were around it, like
Right.
he hunted,
right.
And there's people nowadays, and where you grow up at, you're not exposed to that.
Yeah.
People don't know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why we're considered weird, or that's why we're considered like, why would you do that? Or,
Mhm.
well, that's how I was raised. My dad
Yeah.
taught me to do this. This is what I enjoy to do.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas with the, young adults in general, especially women, will a lot of times fall in line with what's popular.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. And if this isn't popular,
Yep.
then why am I going to go?
Right, and
that-
especially for young girls, you see an image and
Oh, yeah.
that's what you think that you should be.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
Sad.
not what you should be.
Mhm.
That's what the computer made that girl to be.
Mm.
So it's just, I mean, I think hunting is a very good thing for even young girls to get into. It builds confidence,
It gives them a hobby. It gives them something
Right,
to
yeah.
do and to socialize with other people and to have a passion. And
And to decompress. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys personally, but women stress out in general more than guys. Like, we're a little bit better at, I think,
Yeah.
brushing
I
things
think
off.
handling the stress.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just saying, hey, whatever, or I'll fix it tomorrow, or I'll.
Yeah.
And I think women are a little more like,
Gotta get it done
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
exactly.
And stress about it until it's done.
In my experience, ladies always have 50 things on their brain to R2, which is sex
Yeah.
and food.
Yeah. Our brains work completely
Yeah.
different.
And we're
Yes.
thinking about what they're thinking about
do
and
I-
wondering what.
Yeah, sometimes my brain will be completely clear. I won't be thinking about a thing.
Right.
And
And
she,
she-
what are you thinking about? Nothing. Please just leave it. I just want to think about nothing for a
Really?
few
You
minutes.
seem weird.
Yeah, yeah,
What's wrong? What's going on? What are you thinking about?
yeah. Nothing.
Right.
Literally nothing.
Maybe thinking about where I'm going to hang a stand next year, but
Yeah.
other than that, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
We seem off.
yeah.
It's because I can't find the right tree in my mind right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but for me, like this time of year, I find that I'm just generally more stressed out and not in as positive a mindset. Whereas in the fall, if something's not going right and I go spend 4 hours out in the woods, I'm like, whew. You know, there's this thing now that's like becoming popular. They call it like nature bathing. I don't know if you've heard of this.
No, I haven't.
Nope.
Yeah, it's like
Please do tell.
groups of people that like haven't been exposed to the outdoors or the woods or whatever, that have discovered how like mentally therapeutical it is to just go out and sit in the woods. But like, you know, if you've never been like out in the woods, it's a little scary maybe to just walk out in the woods. So as a group, these people will go and then they'll just kind of sit out in the woods for a day and decompress and whatever. And like, yeah, take a bow with you next time, buy a damn hunting license, you know?
I mean,
But-
I can see that.
I can see it too.
I go in the woods, I feel at peace.
Right.
You put me in a city,
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
am on edge. Like,
As soon as we get to like a city
Oh,
limit,
I
Alex
can't
is
stand
usually
it.
like,
It's fun.
"Can you drive?" I don't want to drive.
White knuckling it.
Yeah.
yeah, I just can't stand being around that many people. And
It's a different wilderness.
yeah.
I always look at it that way.
yeah,
Like
one
this,
I don't
the
belong
cities
in.
are wilder than the friggin' woods.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I work in Detroit a lot, inner city, outer city. Like, I see stuff that the people that have the big Detroit stickers on the backs of their cars driving down the freeway that live in West Bloomfield don't see. And it's a friggin' wild place, man. Like, really wild. Like, I've been in houses that people are living in, and there's a damn tree growing up through the floor. You know? It's like you
Wow.
guys are
It's
straight up
natural.
living in the, you know, this is a wild-ass place.
Wow.
No, but I enjoy sitting out in my tree stand, especially during bow season. I really like bow season
Yeah.
a lot.
So I would think that would be valuable to females, that, you know, just to be able to decompress and go out and think. And
I agree with you. But again, I think it all is going to come down to personal preference or personal opinion. You know, you stick a woman out in a tree for 4 hours. The whole time you think she should be relaxing, she's thinking about what she should be doing when she gets back home.
Right.
Whereas, you know, you and I sit there and we're just like, like you just can breathe and relax and watch. You know, it's just
Right.
amazing.
The squirrels.
Yeah. Even though they're annoying the shit out of you.
Yep.
yeah, this is crazy. But I was thinking of some. I won't bring it up.
No, you can bring it
Yeah.
up.
No,
Let's hear it.
No, I won't. No, I won't.
It's getting pretty red over there.
Do you have any other suggestions for recruiting not only young women, but like women that are in their 20s and in their 30s?
I just wish people would be more open to things.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, once you get into your 20s and 30s, you're kind of a little bit more set in your ways.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you meet
So it
someone
makes
who's
it
willing
tougher.
to teach you something.
Right.
But if if you expose somebody, typically do a good thing a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's
Well-
any groups like locally or nationally that are like a sportswomen's association where it's a groups of women that are like really into it, that like mentor young girls that would want to get into if something like that exists.
I don't think so, but that would be.
I don't
I'm
know
sure
of
there's
one.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are, but I mean, I don't know of anything either. I wish there was more.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would help, like you said, the amount of women to hunt and have more of a passion for hunting.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I have a friend. You know, we became friends when we were, I think, 20. She didn't hunt at all, and I had started talking to her about it. You know, and she started to seem more interested in it, and wanted to go out and sit with me in the woods and all this stuff. And then I ended up introducing her to one of my friends who hunted, and now she's super into hunting.
Right.
So, you know, doing stuff like that, I think, like networking and stuff helps, but
But that's where confidence comes in too, because you have to know that people are going to think you're weird, or they're going to think, hey, this is cool. I actually want to talk to this girl some more.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
How about you? You got any suggestions?
I'm just happy he's married a
Yeah.
hunter.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if more of them just got out into the woods and, you know, not even to hunt, but
Well,
I think a lot of women just don't even get in the woods.
No.
Right.
I think
Baby
you-
steps.
Yeah.
You gotta start.
And
Yeah,
I
go
th-
pick go
Yeah.
pick morels.
Yeah,
or
go
do
for a hike,
something, anything.
Anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff out there that you run into in the woods, and there's plenty of public land.
And you don't even necessarily have to go out your first time and shoot. You know,
Yeah.
sit with someone,
Yeah.
watch
Yep.
them,
Mhm.
Yep.
watch how interesting it is, and maybe they will build more of a passion for it.
I mean,
Yeah.
and you'd be surprised how excited people will get when they see like their first deer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
The
yeah.
adrenaline rush.
Yeah,
and-
who you thought wouldn't
Mhm.
even care.
First time I ever swore in front of my parents was when I saw a deer. My dad took me out hunting, and I looked out the window, and there was a doe like at 30 yards. I'm like, holy shit, there's a deer. You know, I was like 10 years old.
Yeah,
My
I
dad's
was out.
like, what'd you say?
I was out with my brother one time. We were sitting in a ground blind during gun season. A doe walks out, or maybe two of them. I can't even remember. But I was like, shit. And my brother's like, Brianna, shut up. But I was just so excited to see a deer, you know? It was, I mean, it's definitely an adrenaline rush and a feeling that you can't get from anything else that I've experienced.
Mhm.
Right. Yep. I concur with that.
Not like trying to get back into the whole baiting thing, but I think that is one like good thing about baiting is when you have a new hunter.
Exposure.
Yeah, well, I mean, a bait pile, there's squirrels that come into it, you know,
Turkeys,
turkeys,
right.
deer. I mean, they're gonna see something
Right.
if they're
Mhm.
setting there.
No, I completely agree.
So I think that's one good thing, you know, about having a bait pile out there for a new hunter
I was
to.
gonna say little kids even
Yeah,
too. When you get
yep.
the new ones out there, it relaxes them. Like, okay, this deer has been sitting here for 20 minutes. Like
Yep.
now my nerves have calmed down.
Yep.
I'm
For
okay
sure.
now. I don't have the
Yep.
jitters.
yeah,
and-
versus them just walking through
Yep.
Yep.
real quick.
And I mean, they're probably gonna see something where, you know, they might not see anything if they're just setting on a trail.
Right.
So it, you know, exposes them to more of that.
Any science to peeing in the woods for girls? That
Science.
it's always one of my wife's
I think
Great.
I failed that in high school.
one of my wife's gripes is, you know, obviously when we're doing, you know, I like to do more primitive camping
Mhm.
and whatnot, and she's like, yeah, I'd like there to be like a bathroom and maybe a shower, you know, and I'm like, well, yeah, we could do that too, but
See,
Well,
I don't have a
she's-
problem with peeing.
I don't
I can
either,
pee
yeah.
anywhere.
And I mean, if I'm going to be out hunting, if there's a day or two where I don't have to take a shower, my thing is, I'm with a group of guys who aren't showering either,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
Yeah.
But
What's that thing your aunt? Is that a shiwi or whatever?
She has a shiwi.
yeah, I wondered about that. I've
Yeah,
seen 'em.
she's into hunting, and she also works in surgery. I don't know if she wears it at work because sometimes she's in surgery for like 6 hours, but I know she does wear it hunting. She's
Yeah.
got, you know, a bladder issue.
Do you actually wear that thing?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you just
Really?
like.
She does. I don't.
I
For
don't know how
anybody
it
that
works.
doesn't know what a shiwi is, you can Google it. But it's essentially a funneling system that
Yep.
Yeah, and it goes down.
help you be a little more accurate in
Yeah.
getting your urine collected into let's go into like a little cup or bucket or something.
something.
Yeah. We should get off topic
I
of
was
that.
going to say,
But it's something, you know, that girls have. You know, guys are like, oh, you just take a piss off a tree stand.
Yeah.
You know, you sit there all day. Well, if
Mhm.
you want to do an all day sit, just get creative.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to go down. We don't have to get too detailed. I can already use my imagination. Hey, I've seen some guys do some terrible, terrible things.
Yeah,
so
memory lane is not
yeah.
good.
I've had a buddy before. He's like, man, I gotta take a shit.
Right off the
He's getting-
stand.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
I know someone who shit
Fucking
his
wild
pants.
animal.
That's
He's like,
dedication.
I couldn't get down. There was a buck right there.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
shoot it, then get down.
Well,
Wow.
I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch this year's Whitetail Adrenaline videos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the one where Jared was up on that deer that
Oh,
was
yeah.
bedded and
Peas is
Yeah.
yeah,
pants.
it's
Yep.
like if I told myself all I got to do to kill this buck is pee my pants, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Yep.
I thought that was
Yeah.
that's a pretty good dedication. but
Yeah.
it's funny.
I think I'd pee my pants before I'd
You
take a
would
dump
pee?
at 'em.
Screw it up.
Oh, before
Right.
you poop. Poo
Yeah.
poo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That don't seem comfortable.
or sanitary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we miss anything? Is there anything that girls wanted to? Anything on your
Stories to
mind that
tell.
you had thought about before?
I don't know. You're the one that had the list. I don't know.
I left the list at home. I don't know.
Nothing that stands out. You'll have a pile of them. We'll do this again. It's been fun.
Yeah,
it was really
Yeah, we appreciate you having
yeah.
us on.
No, it was-
Mhm.
went really good. I could tell like there's no questioning. Like and that's why I had you two on. Like, you hunt, like to hunt. You also like to put dresses and heels on, and it doesn't
Right, there
mean
shouldn't
that
be like a dividing line.
No.
Like you have to be this type of woman or this type of woman.
right.
Why can't you be both?
100%.
You know.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to do your makeup every time you go hunt. But
No,
if
and
you get
like-
off of work and you happen to have your
Yeah.
makeup on, I don't think you should also have to feel
Right.
like you're going to get scorned.
Right, because you don't look bad. You
Right.
know, you don't look ugly. Or
When you wake up at 6 a.m. and go hunt in the morning compared to when you go to right after work, you're going to look different.
Yeah, and like Alex will tell me sometimes, he'll be like, Bree, the deer don't care what you look like.
Yeah.
And I have to remember that sometimes, you know. But
No, I think women should realize too, like, a lot, like, me anyways, I find her more attractive when she's out there walking through the woods with me, no makeup on, than I do when she's got some fancy dress on and her face painted up, you know, with makeup. A lot of guys are like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to, a woman that has confidence
Confidence.
Yeah.
to go and,
Yep.
and do that and not worry about,
and I mean, I'm not like the type of person to be like, oh, I can't get dirty. You know,
Yeah.
like I have literally army crawled through a swamp before. That was the last.
Yeah, why don't you tell that story?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so again, this was a situation where I got out of my tree stand.
This was gun season, right?
Muzzleloader season.
No, it was gun season. You were using a muzzleloader.
Yeah, I was using a muzzleloader. Got out of my tree stand because I was like, it was like what, 7:30? It was early, and
early.
Alex was like, I texted him. I was like, I'm gonna get down. Like I just didn't feel right sitting there. And he was like, don't get down so early. I was like, no, I'm gonna go somewhere else. So I used the wind to my advantage. I walked in. It's like a marshy, swampy area, and the ground was soft still. It was like winter, but it was like ice, snow mixed nasty. And I walked real quiet through the swamp, and then I heard what sounded like deer running around. So I got down on my hands and knees, and I see these does run out, and I was like, oh, a buck's gonna cut. There's got to be a buck. So I get down, and I start like army crawling with my gun through water and mud for like, I don't even know how long. Saw this deer. Shot it. It was a buck. It was a 6-point. I was excited but disappointed because it wasn't the buck I wanted to shoot. And that's where sometimes it's not about how big the rack is. It's about your experience.
Sure.
And so I call Alex. He comes over and he's like, why are you all muddy? I was like, I just had to crawl through that freaking swamp. That's why I'm
Yeah, I
muddy.
was hunting state land, and but she had texted me that she was gonna get down. I was like, no, it's like 45 minutes after daylight. I said, deer are moving right now. She's like, well, I'm going to another spot. I was like, all right. So then she calls me like a half hour later. Like, I can't hardly talk.
I was
I'm
like
what?
crying and
Yeah.
freaking out.
She
'cause the
spined
adrenaline
it.
is
Yeah, I was
kicking at that
She
excited.
spined the 6-point, so it's
Yeah.
still, alive a little. And she was trying to finish it off, but she couldn't get the muzzleloader loaded right again.
Uh-huh.
So she called me, so I hurried up and rushed over there and got over there, and she met me up by the road, and she's covered in mud. I was like, what? What have you been doing?
Wrestling with them.
She was like, oh, I had to crawl. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I went back there and we finished it off, but, she was really upset that it wasn't a bigger or older buck. And I said, that don't matter. I said, you're not going to forget this the rest of your life.
You would have been more disappointed if you would have did all that and not got
Yeah.
a buck.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember that the
story
rest
yourself
of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It was her first buck.
that
you
I've
know.
retrieved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, I haven't belly crawled through the swamp. I mean,
I
Yeah,
belly
I
crawled
don't
to
think I
turkey
have.
hunt, but not through a swamp to deer hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another time we went, I won't say the state land, because I told Alex that I would talk about the
That's right.
story. And he's
Yeah.
like, don't say the location. But we were on state land. We'd only been together like a year. And we get out there. It's like, how cold do you think it was?
Oh, it was cold.
It was freezing.
It was single digits.
It was single digits. And we had a
muzzleloader season.
Muzzleloader season. We had 2 stands set up back there. I don't even know how long it takes to get back there. It's
Over an hour.
yeah, over an hour to walk back to the spot.
You're starting to give too many details.
Anyways,
No, I think you're good.
We had our camo on and we had waiters with us. And you didn't know if you were going to stay above the ice or sink through the ice. And we trudged through all this nasty stuff. We finally get back to the stand. It is so cold. Like, that was one of the coldest times I've ever felt. And we get into the tree stand. We sit there for a long time. Get down, do it all over again back through there.
Never seen a thing.
Get back to the house, and my fucking gun wasn't Alex didn't even load my fucking gun.
Been there, done that.
It was a test. She
Yeah.
passed it.
Yeah, and I was like, I literally can't believe I just did that to not even have a loaded weapon.
I had a muzzleloader too, so I would have gave her mine.
No.
Click.
If it wasn't that big of a
So you
buck.
purposely?
No, I didn't even. I had cleaned my guns and I loaded the one and I just, completely forgot about, because I normally only use my one muzzleloader.
Right.
Well, then she was gonna hunt with me and I just completely forgot that I hadn't even loaded it
Oh, jeez.
after cleaning it and everything. And then I went to clean it after we got back and I was like, oh, it wasn't even loaded.
Jeez. That's funny. Not for you, but
I mean, it could have been worse.
I was gonna say,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, right. No kidding.
At least we didn't see anything.
Yeah.
You'd
Well-
still be hearing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I still hear it. We
Yeah.
didn't even see anything.
No kidding. I think we'll wrap this up, and we're gonna get going to this little backcountry hunters and anglers. It's funny, as we're talking, somebody just messaged in that, oh, you guys talk about backcountry hunters and anglers all the time. I became a member today.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. But we're going to a backcountry. You guys have never. What's your exposure to? Like, I mean, you know about the group.
I mean, once you told me that we were going to be going to this, I started reading into it more, but I did not know anything about them before that, to be honest with
No
you.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people are always surprised, like people that are in BHA, because it is a large group. They're always surprised when people that are hunting or hunters or sportsmen don't know about it. But I'm just like, dude, that's the pace of life. Like, people will be all the time be like, oh my god, you watch this program on Netflix? I'll be like, what are you talking about, man? Are you kidding me? They're like, how do you not know about it? It's like, there's just so much stuff to know about nowadays. How do you expect me to know about all of it? But it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'd never heard about it until listening to your podcast.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're finally having one over here, though.
Right.
I've been wanting to go to one, but they've all been on the west side. And
They got one coming up in the UP, I think is what they were saying, weren't they, after this
UP,
one?
yeah, they're starting to
Escanaba.
pop up. People they're fun. They're kind of like a hunting meetup, and they're held at breweries typically. So people are just kind of taking it upon themselves to be like, hey, they'll message in and be like, hey, I kind of want to put a pint night together in my neck of the woods. And Jason, he'll be like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I'll put the word out, And so people are kind of starting to take it into their own hands, and a lot of growth in the group and good message that they stand for. And yeah, it'll be fun to go check it out. So
we're gonna shoot your bow after this.
yeah, let's fire some arrows, and maybe we'll have one more Bloody Mary, and then we'll go do that.
Sounds good.
Pretty damn
Sounds
nice
good.
Sunday or
Saturday.
They all run together.
Right? Yeah. Well, I've been working 6 days a week,
Yeah.
so the fact that we're sitting here doing this and my brain's not
Yeah,
like,
your day off does feel like a Sunday.
right, for sure. So I appreciate you guys taking time to do this. I know you both drove quite a bit. You're on very little sleep,
Yep.
and you work at night. What?
I didn't go to bed till 3 in the morning. It was an hour and 40-minute drive here. So
This will be an early night for you, maybe.
no, probably not.
Should we
No,
passed out on the way home?
No.
you're
I
probably wired awake at night, huh?
Yeah,
It'll be early night for me probably.
Yeah.
I don't know you to not have an early night.
Oh yeah, you've traveled
Champion
with him.
sleeper.
9 o'clock.
You've traveled with him in a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real fun.
They were making fun of me up north when I fell asleep right away. When we were out there camping.
Yep. You're a good sleeper.
Best kind. He doesn't talk then.
That's why. Well, thank you very much for coming over, and I look forward to doing this again at some point. And what do you want to say? What your Instagram is, if anybody wants to go see your big giant buck that you killed, or you want to keep that to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's just Autumn.
What is it?
Is it Autumn KSS?
Yeah, I think it's Autumn KSS.
Yeah.
Autumn _.
No, just
Just
Autumn
Autumn.
KSS.
I think so, yeah.
Someone had
And you
Autumn
have
KS.
You have Instagram too?
Yeah. What is mine?
I think is
Bree.
it Brand?
Bree Grace. It doesn't matter.
As you can tell, we're really good at this.
Yeah, we're really up on the social media.
Clearly.
Did you guys know that that's been recording for YouTube the whole time?
Yeah, why do you think my back's been to it?
So they caught me picking my nose.
So they caught my wine
Your
bottle.
wine bottle.
Yeah. What's your wine called there? You're drinking?
It is
Out of a
called,
solo cup.
even though it's wine, it's called Black-Tailed Deer. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Will's Winery in Lapeer.
Oh, nice.
Local.
Yep.
Shout out to Will's Winery. What's her Instagram?
It's Bree Grace Slosser.
Cool. Nobody cares about you.
No.
It's just Alex.
You can find Alex through there.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure everybody that listens. You've been on here 2 or 3 times?
Yeah.
You've been
This
on
would
here
be your
3
third
times.
time.
I think it was 4. Well, we did those 2 in Wisconsin.
We did the first one when you came over here. Then
Yeah.
we went to Wisconsin, and then we did up north. With me, you, and Ray.
So-
and Bomber went hunting.
Yeah, because we did the one with Dan and with Sam in Wisconsin.
So 4.
and
yeah.
then the one up north, and then this one.
Yeah.
So 5.
5 now.
Jeez.
God,
Too many.
Regular. Let's start paying.
I was gonna say, put on
Yeah,
the payroll.
that sounds good.
Yeah, you don't want. Trust me, you don't want the payroll around here.
No.
It's a negative number.
Yeah, I'd be paying you, huh?
100%. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
listening.
Thank you.
you.